Hello and welcome. I'm the Theory Detective. In these lessons we'll uncover the mystery of music theory. Now, over here notice I put high and low. Very easy. If a note is lower, then you play a low note. If a note is higher, then you play a high note. Now, high, I also put treble and G. So we're going to deal with the clefs right now. Now, as I said in the last lesson, you have the staff. And you read it from left to right. And the notes at the bottom of the staff are low, and the notes at the top of the staff are high. But we have to figure out exactly which notes are going to correspond with which letter names. This could be E, or G, or F, or whatever. So we have to have a standardized way of doing that, and that's where we get clef signs. A clef sign is basically a symbol that tells you what a specific note is. In this case, we have two very common ones, the G clef and the F clef. Now, there are really three standard, the G, the F, and the C. But most popular is the G clef, and the second most popular is the F clef. Later on, in higher levels, we'll deal with the C clef. But for now, we'll just do G and F. And I'll go ahead and put clef here. Clef. And down here as well. Clef. Now, if you have one staff, or 5 notes and 4 spaces, you can also have 2. In the case of a keyboard instrument, you might have one for the right hand and one for the left hand. Now, the treble clef is what we usually use for the right hand of a keyboard instrument or high instruments. In fact, treble means high. And bass means low. Bass is what we use for the left hand of a keyboard instrument or low instruments such as the cello or the double bass or string bass, and also for low voices such as a bass or baritone singer. So right hand of the keyboard instruments such as piano or organ, and also high instruments and high voices, and then over here, low voices, low instruments, and the left hand of keyboard instruments. So let's take a look at what the G clef actually looks like. Well, it starts out looking like a G, literally like a G. But after a while, it kind of developed into its own thing. Now, we're going to start here. We're going to swoop around, down to the bottom, up on top, up, hook down, all the way down, and curl at the end. And there is our treble clef. Now, because it's a G here, if you notice, it started out as a G, then this line that it goes through, or that it goes through it, is our G. So I'm going to draw a G right there. That gives us our G note. So we can figure out what all of these other notes are based on the G. Treble clef, it started out looking like physically a G, or the G clef started out looking like a G, and then it evolved into this fancy G clef symbol. Now, if it's placed right here, this is the second line, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's placed right here, then it is called the treble clef. It could be further up, such as here, or it could be further down, such as over here. I'll just fit it in. However, if it's right here, then it is called the treble clef. I'm going to go ahead and erase these so it won't look so crowded. So our treble clef tells us where the G is. And from that, we can figure out where all the other notes are. Because what's above a G? An A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So we know if this line is G, then this space has to be A. The line has to be B, the space has to be C, the line has to be D, the space has to be E, the line has to be F, and finally, sitting on top, like the king of the world, is our G. So we have two G's prominently placed on the treble clef. The G, where the line goes through the treble clef, and the G that sits on top, like the king or queen. Okay, let's deal with the bass clef, the second most popular clef. Remember I said there were three. The G clef, and then the F clef, and then the C clef. So the F clef is the second most common clef, and it is literally called bass, which is low, just like the double bass or string bass. Or you can also have an electric bass. Same thing, it means low. And some singers are also called basses as well. It means low. So treble means high, and bass means low. Now we started out with kind of an F symbol. But then it eventually evolved into the bass clef, or the F clef. These two extra dots give it a little more emphasis because sometimes it's a little harder to read. So make sure when you draw the bass clef you add in those two dots because they are standardized. Okay, so we have the bass clef here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our fourth line going across. So I'm going to put the F here. There we are. Our G clef with the G going through it, and our F clef with the F going through it. The dots are on either side of the F line. Now we're going to go backwards or go down. So below F would be E, below E on the line would be D, below D on the space would be C, below C on the line would be B, below B is A, and below A is G, and below G on the space below, underneath the bass clef, is our other F. So we have the F that holds up or sustains the bass clef. And then we also have the F that goes through. If you notice, this is actually 1, 2 from the bottom, and this is 1, 2 from the top, and this is 1, 2 from the bottom. But we generally count from the bottom for music. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we say the fourth line. And then this one holds up the bass clef. Again, G line going through, and then the G, the queen of the treble clef, or the king of the treble clef, sitting way up top. Again, treble means high, and the symbol by itself is the G clef sign. And bass means low. The symbol by itself is the F clef line. And just like the treble clef can move up and down, the bass clef can also move up and down. You could put it right here if you want. But you would call it the F clef because it's the F clef symbol. But you wouldn't necessarily call it the bass clef because it's been moved off this standardized line. So let's go ahead and get rid of that as well. Now, if you have an instrument where you're using two different sets, you have a staff above and a staff below, such as a keyboard instrument, something for an electric keyboard, the piano, a harpsichord, which is a very old instrument, or an organ. There are a lot of organs in churches. So you would have two of these. Now, one you call a staff, and two you call staves. One staff, two staves. So remember that as well. It'll get you into speaking like a musician. All right. Bass clef, low, and you use the F clef. Treble clef, high, and you use the G clef. And also the notes, G and G, and the bass clef notes, F, and below, sustaining it, is the F. Let's go ahead and look at the flashcards. Right here, we have our treble clef symbol, and written out treble. It's spelled kind of like trouble, but with it another E. And high. because it means high. And then over here, bass. Don't forget the two little dots. And bass is spelled with two S's, and it means low. And if you have note flashcards, go ahead and take those out as well. We have an F sustaining it up at the bottom. And on the opposite side, it'll generally tell you what the note is. You can double check before you add these to your practice pile. And then the F on the bass clef, the two dots with the line going through it, that's our F. And then we have for the treble, we have the G on the G line. And then also the G sitting on top. Add all of those to your practice pile, and as always, have a great day.